Ever wondered why some websites just make you want to click buy now or book today, while others are so dull you'd rather watch paint dry?
It's not magic, it's psychology, and when you use it properly, it can turn casual scrollers into paying customers.
I'm Adam, founder of websitedesigners.london. Over the years, we've helped businesses generate tens of millions of pounds online through smarter design.
And I'm Josh, I'm the founder of ImproveMySearchRanking.com, a specialist SEO agency based in South London.
Welcome back to the Marketing Podcast for Local Businesses, the show that gives you practical, proven marketing advice to help you grow your business right here in the UK. So if you're looking for marketing advice that's not just theory, but tested strategies that get you results, you are here in the right place.
And in today's episode, we'll be talking about the power of social proof, basically website psychological tips that can help drive sales. We'll break down exactly how to use psychology on your website, from images of happy customers to testimonials and much more.
Amazing. Let's start with something simple but powerful. Images of happy customers. When people see others enjoying a product or service, ultimately it triggers that trust and the if they did it, I can too effect. So for local businesses, this could mean group photos of clients, smiling faces at events, or showcasing before and after transformations. So in fact, I always think about a website where, or even on TikTok, where you've got this shot of a stock image of a person just going, and there's text on the kind of hero image. And I guess that's what we're talking about.
Exactly, yes. And actually, that reminds me of a book by a lady called Natalie Nahai, I believe her name is. She wrote a book called Webs of Influence, and it talks in great detail about this psychological factor where you have the people smiling and looking in the right direction of the call to action. Cool.
Amazing.
Yes, not just about photos. The language you use on your website matters too. So saying things like trusted by over 500 customers or join 10,000 people who trust XYZ company, that really helps communicate that other people rely on you, and that's social proof in action.
Amazing. So next up, testimonials and reviews. So I'm sorry, I've just done thunder, mate.
That's right.
You go
No
for it. So tell us about testimonials and reviews.
Testimonials and reviews, as you probably know, these are just written or video or graphic-based testimonials from customers of your business, and they really are worth their weight in gold. They showcase again that you're used by other people and that you are trusted by other people, and therefore perhaps me who's reading it would also find you a trustworthy business. So don't just add the text if you can. I mean, that's fine, but you could also add the names of people, add photos of people, short video clips if possible too. So real faces and voices build more trust than just some basic text.
Agreed. Reviews from platform, if you think about Google or Trustpilot, everyone's got those green kind of stars, whether they're rated 5.4 or 4.3251. Yeah. It can also be embedded live onto your site, and it's dynamic, so it updates every time you get a review in. Good for people that get 5-star reviews, not so good for people that don't get very good reviews.
Exactly.
Ultimately, when visitors see those kind of recent 5-star reviews rolling in, it feels, well, I certainly am more likely to buy from there. You know, if I see other people that have reviewed it, given it a 5-star, then it feels authentic, it feels persuasive, just rather than the kind of static testimonial from 2 years ago. That being said, it's still good to have, if you're not tech savvy, if you don't have a web designer, if you just want to get some reviews on there, it's still good to have a testimonial on there, even if it is a static one. You can always change it and chop it and change it every few months when you get a new one in. But ultimately, testimonials are better than not having testimonials.
Exactly. And personally, whenever I make a purchase that is substantial, I would want to check out the reviews beforehand. I'll check their Google reviews. I'll check any other Trustpilot or the like beforehand.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So look, another subtle trick, I guess, would be kind of the use of human faces. So psychologically, physically, our eyes naturally follow other people's eyes. So if you use an image of someone looking towards a call to action, like I mentioned before, that cheesy little, we've all seen it, or when an influencer's talking about they want to put a statistic up on their screen on TikTok, they'll go like this, or like, just point towards the statistic or the call to action. In this case, we're talking about the call to action. So our eyes naturally follow someone else other people's eyes. So if you use an image of someone looking towards your call to action, or you do the little cheesy pointing at, action, visitors are more likely to notice it too.
It sounds a bit silly, really, but it does work. It's incredibly effective, and there's data that backs this up. So on your landing pages, put photos of people pointing, as you just suggested, at your call to action, and it will help get more conversions.
Agreed.
Cool. So next point we have is pricing psychology. So this is where it's one of my favorite things, and I use it personally all the time. If you've ever had a sales conversation with me, you've probably noticed me using this. Well, now you know the secrets that I'm revealing right now. So yes, one of my favorite things. So this is where you could, for example, have 3 different packages, and I like to start with the most expensive package first, because that then puts a number in the customer's mind, and they think, oh wow, this is an expensive service, and they anchor the cost to that first price they see. Then afterwards I'll show a lesser campaign price, and then finally a lower campaign level. Now most people will tend to pick the medium in the middle kind of range campaign, because they don't want to spend too much, they don't want to spend too little, so they go for the medium sized package. So yeah, this is a great way to increase conversions, is to anchor a price highly to start with.
And I guess if we think about the effect and how that works psychologically in our minds, we see something, I don't know, out of our price range. We think, okay, we tend to associate high price points with a premium product and high quality. So immediately when you present that price to someone, they're going to think, gosh, I can't afford it. It must be good. I wish I could, potentially, perhaps. Then you show them the next price, and it's within their price range, and they think, oh gosh, I can afford it. This is great. And they get excited. And then you show them another kind of alternative, which is even more affordable. And they kind of realize, okay, so, this could really work for me. This is really, a potential product service I can take out, right?
Exactly.
Amazing. So let's not forget about loss aversion. So instead of saying, get this for £99, try framing it in a different way. And again, this is all about using human psychology. So we're saying, instead of get this for £99, you're saying, don't lose customers to competitors for just £99. I actually think that's really powerful when you wrote that. It's good point there. So look, ultimately, it's an emotion. It's a motive. Sorry, it's a motive, right? Don't lose customers to competitors for just £99. Bit of a mouthful, but when the person sits back and thinks, okay, so instead of spending £99, instead of spending £99 and getting 20 new customers, which would give me £10,000, or the alternative, the opportunity cost is not spending anything and not getting those the 20 customers for 10 grand, I guess, right? So people often are more motivated by what they stand to lose, what they stand to gain. I guess that is the kind of key messaging, and that's loss aversion. So let's move on to call to actions. So we talked about CTAs, or call to actions, a little bit already, but be consistent across your site. Same color, same wording. Some people, in fact, arguably will say, use different wording as well, in fact. So some people say, call now, or don't lose, don't wait, call now, or take action. So some people, I've heard varying bits of advice on this, but ultimately I think the whole idea of consistency does tend to work better in from what I've seen, but placement is also key. And I'm sorry if I'm going to steal your thunder shortly, but having them placed in regularly and throughout the kind of landing page, or the kind of is key. We'll talk about that in a bit more, I'm sure, a bit later on. Wording matters as well. So submit doesn't work as nearly as well as get my free quote or book my spot today. So just be aware of that.
Yes. So personally, I'll say clarity beats cleverness every time. So visitors should know exactly what happens when they click. If there's confusion, they won't act. So on the point of having various call to actions, what I personally think works best is you could definitely have varying wording. So call now, hurry, 10 minutes left to call now. what I wouldn't have is various different types of call to action in terms of download the ebook, get £7 off voucher,
Yes,
contact us now, book in a scheduled call for next week.
Meet me at the local coffee shop.
So just I personally have one type of call to action. You can vary the language as much as you like, but yeah, that's what I would add to that point.
Yes.
Cool. So that brings us on to scarcity and urgency, another really nice psychological hack that I tend to use and recommend for all of our clients. So scarcity and urgency are two of the most powerful psychological triggers you can use. Scarcity means limited availability, like, for example, only 3 spots left this month. And urgency is time-based offer ends this Friday at midnight. Both push people to act quicker. So on this, if you was to go to our website or my website, you would see at the very top there is a banner that says only taking on X or 3 new customers this month, and that is a use of scarcity. And surprisingly, people phone up and they say, "Have you got any slots left this month?" And it's something you just don't think would work because it just seems so simple and easy, but people phone up and they're urge to act quickly because of that use of scarcity.
It's wild. Again, I always try to step away when I think about marketing techniques, because sometimes I look at ads, or and I don't think they tend to work for me. Well, consciously, it's maybe subconsciously they do. I could never think of myself as doing that, but it clearly works. The evidence is there. So I guess the point I'm making here is, if just you might think it's a poor idea, you might, as in our listeners, might think it's a poor idea because, who would fall for that, or who would listen to that? But ultimately, it works. There's a reason why.
You've got to test it, don't you? You've got to test and
exactly.
Test and measure.
And ultimately, what have you, again, opportunity cost? What have you got to lose from having that sentence on your screen?
Exactly. It works really well for e-commerce because that's more obvious. Only one left in stock.
Correct.
Because then, you're forced to act quickly.
Yeah, no, agree. But look, be honest. Try not to fake scarcity, obviously. So if you've only got 5 left, make sure that's true. Otherwise, you're going to damage trust. But when used ethically, I think these tactics work very, very, very effectively.
Yeah, and likewise, on our website, like I said, it says only 5 slots remaining this month or this week, and that is true. So I only have a limited amount of time available for sales calls. I have 10 till 12, 2 till 4 for 3 days a week. Those are the only slots that we have for sales calls in a week. So you don't need to lie, but every business also has some constraints. You can't take on 1,000 new customers this week. So why not say we can only take on 5 customers if you can actually only take on 5?
Exactly. Next is trust signals. So look, don't underestimate the power of trust signals. Essentially what they are things like security badges, or like a money back guarantee, or even an as seen in logo. They reassure visitors, they build the credibility, and they essentially make you feel that they're safe to buy from. So I just thought of an example. Whenever I try to, for example, I'm into loose tea at the moment. So instead of having in sachets, buying the loose tea and then putting them in a strainer and then put my boiling water in there. Now, I tried to find a website that sold organic loose leaf tea. And it was a website I'd never heard from before. I'm a creature of habit. I go to the same websites typically. When I was comparing 2 different sites, I actually ended up spending a little more in terms of price point, because the website drew me in as a more trustworthy website. Now, they might both be trustworthy websites, but the other one did have, 30-day satisfaction guarantee. It had the ability to pay using Apple Pay. So it had the logo Apple Pay and Google Pay. Again, that gave me security, because I thought, okay, I can pay my credit card. It's not going to steal my credit card details. The checkout methodology is familiar, probably using Shopify, so I know my details are safe. It had some, logos on there as well, organic, certified organic. So again, it's just it made me feel safe, and therefore I ended up spending about 10% more on that website.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that made me think of another psychological factor we've not mentioned here, but actually just the overall website design. Because if you have a website that looks like it was built in 1990, you're going to be much. You won't feel like you want to enter your credit card details. If the website looks good, has a nice design, it's modern, it has all these points we spoke about, but also just generally speaking, it has a nice look and feel to it. You feel more trusting in giving your details to that company.
Absolutely.
And yeah, one final point on that. So yeah, using logos as seen in press and things like that all helps increase the conversion rate, as does if you've worked with any local businesses. So if you're a B2C company and you want to work with more, if you're a B2B company and you want to work with more businesses locally, if you showcase logos of those businesses that you worked with, that will also increase your social proof.
Amazing. That's brilliant. So look, let's just take a step back here. We've talked about happy customers, testimonial, pricing, call to actions, scarcity, trust signals, etc. So question for you guys, which one do you think has the biggest impact on you personally when you're buying online?
Yeah, let us know. Let us know in the comments. It's always great to hear from you guys.
Fantastic.
Cool. So yeah, just to recap, here's a cheat sheet for today's episode. We'll go through these one by one. So yeah, first and foremost, show happy customers looking at your call to actions and use popularity language.
Amazing. Add authentic testimonials, reviews, and user-generated content.
Use human faces strategically, especially when directing to CTAs.
Apply pricing psychology, so anchoring, loss aversion, value framing.
Keep call to actions clear, consistent, and action-driven.
Use scarcity and urgency ethically.
And use trust signals like the logos, guarantees, badges, media mentions.
Brilliant. Look, these aren't just theories. They're absolutely proven psychological triggers that can make your website more persuasive and profitable. The best part, they're quite easy to implement. If you're having issues, our contact details are at the bottom of this, of the description of this podcast. Give us a shout. We'll be able to help you with those for your website.
And if you want to give them a go yourself, maybe just pick 1, 2, maybe 3 of these and try it, see what you can do.
Amazing. And look, if you found this episode useful, please do hit follow on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast, so you don't miss the next one. And it absolutely helps us, because ultimately, the more followers we have, the more people it will reach, the more people we can help, and we'll be able to do this more so for you as well. So it's really great. And if you're on Apple, please give us a review. Even if you're on Spotify, actually, there's the ability to review. Drop us a comment as well. We've got a few comments recently, which are great, and we always reply to you guys as well. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.